Yo, what's up? Bill from Classic Rock and Metal Review here to talk to you about 5 best ofs or greatest hits that actually are all that. In other words, 5 greatest hits albums that truly have nothing but greatest hits on them, no filler. And if you can, before we get started, can you hit a like button for me or subscribe or both? That'd be great. And the notification bell if they're still doing that thing here. That way you'll get alerted whenever I put something new up. So, what do I mean by, well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, no filler, right? And I guess there was a certain album, and I'll get to that, that'll be my 5th one I talk about, that sort of sparked this idea in my head in the first place, because it's such a thorough greatest hits album. I mean, actually, I think they even had more hits than they put on there. But I think the point being that anymore nowadays it just seems like, a band has 2-3 albums out and then here comes a greatest hits album, and not even half of the album is truly a hit, which, might be still interesting to fans. Obviously they're selling enough of them to do them in the first place. But point being that, there was a time when greatest hits albums were actually full of hits. And, if anyone that knows me knows that I'm more of a deep cut guy. If I like something, I want the whole album, and I'll get in. Like the hits attract me like everyone else, but I'm looking for other great songs on that record. I usually don't get a greatest hits album, but I've been kind of getting back into them again lately. They sort of have a purpose, now that I've got a lot of my favorite bands' catalogs. I don't always want to hear everything off of every album, so sometimes it's just a nice 30-40 minute package that I'm all in the mood for. So I've been collecting them again, but it's actually what got me started, and very many bands were my appreciation for them began with a greatest hits compilation. So let's get the 5 truly stocked full greatest hits albums. And the first one I pulled out, this isn't a countdown, this is just 5 random ones, but I think you'll see what I mean by it. First of all, can you deny anything on the Eagles, their greatest hits, 71 to 75? I think not. First of all, what I find interesting is that their first album didn't come out until 1972, and yet the album is officially titled Their Greatest Hits 1971, 1975. But anyway, that's sort of beside the point. I just always wondered about that. Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, and also from the first album, Peaceful Easy Feelin', all huge hits. If you're a child of the 70s like me, you couldn't really go anywhere for more than a couple weeks without hearing any of these songs. Lion Eyes, another huge one. I think that was a #1 song. I think that also was, at the time anyway, the longest #1 single ever, and clocking in almost 7 minutes long. Already Gone from the On the Border album. Desperado, title track from that one. One of These Nights, another awesome song. Tequila Sunrise off of Desperado. Take It to the Limit, and the very last song on here, Best of My Love from On the Border album. I mean, 10 bona fide, legitimate smash hit songs. And what makes this a perfect collection too. This is after that, they did 4 albums, put this out, and it really is a perfect summary. And there really wasn't any other song that was even near as big a hit as anything that's on here. So it's just like a perfect package. And I know it holds some kind of records for one of the biggest selling albums of all time, greatest hits or not. Another one that I think pretty much can't be denied, and this came out early 80s, I want to say 83, but this band had been putting out albums since 71 or 72. Hall & Oates, Rock and Soul Part 1, which I think sort of had greatest hits. In some of the titles it says greatest hits, and this one it happens to. I think I actually have this on vinyl also. Say It Isn't So was a new song just for this collection, which became a hit. And then you go back into their archives a bit with Sarah Smile, She's Gone, Rich Girl from 76, Kiss on My List, You Make My Dreams, Private Eyes. Adult Education, I think, is another new song from this compilation, which I want to say it was a major hit, but it was a hit. It had a video that got played a lot, and you did hear the song some on the radio too, for at least a month or two. I Can't Go For That, No Can Do, another big hit. Maneater was, I think, probably a number one. It seemed like it was. You heard it all the time for a while there. One on One, also off the H2O album, which I think was 82. Wait For Me, that might be the one borderline song. I did hear that on the radio, just not as much as anything else on here. And you get a live version of that on this collection. And that's a great song. Oh, by the way, just a little side note, I'm not a big fan of these when people throw live versions onto a greatest hits album. You know, it's a greatest hit because the record was the hit, not the concert version. But I think some of these bands think they're doing you a favor or giving you something extra. I always kind of steered me away from buying some of these. All right, next up, another undeniable greatest hits collection. Chicago. They ended up calling this their 9th album. As you know, all their albums were numbered up until 13. Actually, I think 11 were numbered. Anyway, 25 or 6 to 4. Does anybody really know what time it is? Color My World, Just You and Me. Saturday in the Park, Feeling Stronger Every Day. You know, all these songs are just huge. Make Me Smile, Wishing You Were Here, Call on Me, I've Been Searching So Long, and Beginnings. 11 huge hits here. And they actually did have a couple of other songs. No, I'm wrong, because this condenses their first 7 albums. The 8th album had just come out right before this, so they didn't want to put anything from there on there, although Old Days would have been, you know, the 12th song on here probably. But you could make an argument that a couple of other songs could have even been, I know Happy Man from Chicago 7 was pretty big. But undeniable greatest hits album right there. And that's what got me into Chicago. The Eagles' greatest hits is what got me into the Eagles. This one might not be everyone's choice, but I'm going to pick it. I'm going with it. Little River Band, greatest hits. I'm not sure what year this came out, and this print is so small that even with my glasses on, this old man can't read it. We got It's a Long Way There. What an awesome song that is. Help Is on Its Way. Reminiscing, probably their biggest song. Lonesome Loser is a great one. Take It Easy on Me is a great one. That might be 82, so I think that probably dates this album. Don't quote me on that one. Down on the Border might be the only borderline one. Might be the only one I didn't hear before I owned this collection, but that's not to say it wasn't on the radio. I just don't specifically remember. Every other song I'm naming off of this bad boy was a radio hit, and I heard them multiple times growing up. Man on Your Mind, The Other Guy, The Night Owls, which I think is probably their best song. That's an awesome song. Happy Anniversary, Lady, and Cool Change. I mean, you legit have 11 hits on here, and Down on the Border is a great song, but I'm not sure if that was a hit or not. I might have heard it, just don't recall, but I'm going to give it to LRB there, even though there's probably not a bona fide 12 out of 12. Close enough. All right, last up, I saved this one because this is the album that sparked the idea. You know, through the years, every time I look at this album, it's like, man, this is what a greatest hits album should be. Everything on here kicks ass. Foreigner, and it's not actually called greatest hits, we're called records. I love the whole little jukebox presentation. I don't like the back cover because I can't read pink on gray. But 10 songs that just destroy. I mean, Cold as Ice, Double Vision, Head Games, Waiting for a Girl Like You. Yeah, you know, the ballad, but it's a great song. Feels Like the First Time, Killer, Urgent, Dirty White Boy, Jukebox Hero, Long, Long Way from Home, and then ending it with Hot Blooded. 10 awesome songs. Grew up in the Philly area, and you know, Philly rock radio was pretty good, but not the best. But they did play all of these songs quite often. This was a no-brainer when you pick this thing up. I'm trying to think when I did. It was probably 82-ish. 404 was the first album I ever bought, actually, and this was not too far behind it. Not too thrilled that Hot Blooded Live is live. I just like the studio stuff better when I'm collecting the greatest hits. But it's not a bad version. Oh yeah, one thing I just wanted to, this one I actually like so much, but because all these versions on here are edited, I went ahead and just burned out of my iTunes. I just put this into a double CD case. Kept everything else that came with it, but you flip the other disc and then there's my CDR of not only the full versions of all those same 10 songs, but the studio version of Hot Blooded. And I decided to expand it and put one new song from each of the 4 albums that it was compiling. I took Star Rider off the first album. I mean, come on. Not a hit, but just love that song. Now this one actually is a hit. Off of Double Vision, I put Blue Morning, Blue Day. Definitely could have been the 11th song on that album. From Head Games, I chose Love on the Telephone, which isn't, again, not a hit, but they did make a video for it, and that's how I really became aware of that song. That song's great. Some kind of compilation video I picked up that was a bunch of BBC, or a bunch of European TV performance / videos, and that was on there, and that really got me into that song. And then off of 4, I pulled Break It Up, which was a minor hit, I think, on its own. I'm not sure if it was a single or not. Anyway, there you go. 5 undeniable greatest hits albums. And we'll see you next time. If you can, hit a like and subscribe if you can. This is a new station. We're just trying to get things rolling. All right, guys. That'll be it for today. Later.